Some men walk into a room and instantly draw attention. Not because they're loud, not because they're trying to show off, but because there's something different about them. You can feel it before they even speak. Their presence alone changes the atmosphere. That's the kind of power a Sigma male carries, even if he doesn't realize it. A Sigma male isn't chasing status. He doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. He doesn't lead loudly like an alpha or follow like a beta. He operates in silence, on his own terms. That's exactly what makes him stand out. The quiet, focused man in the corner? That's the one people notice without even knowing why. What's surprising is that many Sigma males don't know how intimidating they really are. They're not trying to dominate. They're not trying to scare anyone. But their natural traits, independence, emotional control, mental clarity, send signals that others can't ignore. The confidence they carry isn't always loud, but it's real. And people pick up on it. You might be one of them. You might have walked into rooms and felt everyone shift just a little. Maybe people act strangely around you, like they're nervous, or too polite, or overly defensive. Maybe you've been told you're intense or hard to read, even though you're just being yourself. That's because your energy speaks before your words do. This video breaks down the 6 signs that a Sigma male is far more intimidating than he thinks. These signs show up in his body language, his behavior, and his silence. Not because he's trying to be feared, but because he's more powerful than he realizes. Let's take a closer look at what makes him such a strong presence, and why people feel it before he even says a word. Sign number 1. Silent confidence in chaos. Most people talk a big game when things are going well. They act confident when life is easy, when the path is clear, when everything's under control. But take those comforts away. Add some pressure, some noise, some conflict, and that confidence disappears. That's where the Sigma male stands out. In chaos, he stays calm. He doesn't panic, and he doesn't feed off drama. When others are scrambling for answers or attention, he stays still. That stillness doesn't mean he's frozen, it means he's calculating. Observing. Deciding. While everyone else reacts, he thinks. And that kind of calmness makes people nervous. People are wired to respond to emotional energy. So when they're loud and stressed, and the Sigma male doesn't match that energy, it throws them off. It makes them wonder what he knows that they don't. His silence becomes intimidating. Not because it's empty, but because it holds control. This kind of silent confidence isn't forced. He doesn't have to fake it or plan it. It's natural, built from a lifetime of trusting his instincts, staying grounded, and not needing approval. That's why it works. It's real. The Sigma male doesn't need to be the center of attention to have an impact. In fact, the less he speaks, the more people want to know what he's thinking. They lean in. They overanalyze. They start to adjust themselves around him, all because his quiet presence carries more weight than loud voices ever could. In heated moments, his calm becomes a mirror. It shows people their own chaos. That's why they find it intimidating. It forces them to face themselves. They expect resistance but get stillness. They expect arguments but get silence. That kind of response breaks patterns, and in a world built on noise, the man who doesn't flinch becomes the one they respect the most. Sign number 2. Unshakable composure under pressure. Pressure exposes people. It shows who's pretending and who's real. In moments where most people get emotional, defensive, or aggressive, the Sigma male stays composed. His face doesn't twitch. His tone doesn't change. He doesn't lose control even when pushed. This kind of self-control is rare. Most people wear their emotions on their sleeve, especially when they're challenged. But the Sigma male has already worked through most of his inner noise. He doesn't carry emotional baggage into every conversation. That's why he can stay level-headed when others break down. What's even more intimidating is how little he reacts to power plays. If someone tries to provoke him, insult him, or bait him into a response, he doesn't give them what they want. He's not interested in proving himself. He doesn't feed the fire. He lets it burn out on its own. This throws people off. They expect resistance, and instead they get nothing. That lack of reaction isn't weakness, it's control. It says, "You don't move me," and that message, even unspoken, carries serious weight. People aren't used to that. They're used to getting under each other's skin. So when they meet someone who can't be shaken, they don't know what to do. That's when the Sigma becomes intimidating, not because he's aggressive, but because he's immune to nonsense. This composure also makes him reliable. In chaos, people look to him for direction, even if he's not leading. They trust his silence more than others' loud advice. His ability to remain centered makes him a natural anchor in any group, even when he's standing alone. But the truth is, he doesn't act composed to impress anyone. He just doesn't let outside noise take over his internal peace. That's what makes him strong. And that's what makes people feel like they're standing in front of someone who can't be shaken, no matter how hard they push. Sign number 3, intense focus that commands respect. There's something powerful about a man who can focus. Not in a casual way, but with full attention like nothing else exists. Sigma males have this kind of focus, and it makes people take them seriously without even understanding why. They don't bounce between distractions. When they choose something to work on, they go deep, and that intensity is felt by everyone around them. This focus shows up in their eyes, their posture, and even in their silence. When they listen, they really listen. When they speak, it's because they've already thought it through. There's no rush to be heard. No need to interrupt. And that kind of mental clarity is rare in a world full of scattered attention and shallow thinking. People are drawn to focus. They might not know it, but when someone is locked in, whether on a goal, a conversation, or an idea, it sends a message. That message is, "I'm not here to waste time." That's intimidating, especially for people who hide behind small talk and surface-level distractions. The Sigma male's focus also makes him hard to manipulate. He sees through games and avoids emotional traps. He doesn't chase trends or try to fit into social expectations. Instead, he moves in a straight line, guided by what he's chosen to care about. That kind of direction can make others uncomfortable, especially those who lack it themselves. In group settings, this intensity sets him apart. While others are multitasking or performing, he's dialed in. That kind of presence doesn't need to be loud, it's felt. It makes people sit up straighter. It makes them lower their voice. It makes them second-guess their words. Not because he demands respect, but because his focus creates a serious atmosphere. What's surprising is that the Sigma male isn't trying to impress anyone. He focuses for himself, not for show. But the result is that others feel the weight of his attention, or the cold of his indifference when he chooses not to give it. That kind of selective energy makes people realize they're not in control of the space. He is. And that's what makes his focus so intimidating. It's not aggressive. It's not flashy. It's simply rare. And in a world where most people are scattered and reactive, a man who knows exactly what he's doing and why becomes a presence that can't be ignored. Sign number 4, observant eyes that miss no detail. People reveal more than they think. The way they speak, how they sit, what they glance at, what they avoid, It's all information. Most people miss it. Sigma males don't. Their eyes are always watching, not in a creepy or obvious way, but with quiet precision. They notice what others miss, and that alone is enough to make people uneasy. This kind of observation is different from curiosity. It's not casual or passive. It's active. A Sigma male walks into a room and starts picking up signals. Who's talking the loudest? Who's holding back? Who's lying, even with a smile on their face? All of these answers are available, and the Sigma is reading them in real time. He doesn't need to interrupt or investigate. He simply watches, and people feel it. They might not say anything, but they adjust. They stop oversharing. They double-check their words. They feel exposed even if nothing has been said. That's the power of quiet observation. It makes people think twice. This isn't about judgment. The Sigma male isn't looking for flaws to attack. He's studying people to understand how they work. And when you feel like someone is seeing everything, you can't help but get a little nervous, especially if you're not being fully honest. What makes this trait so intimidating is the sense that nothing gets past him. You can't bluff, fake confidence, or hide weakness. The Sigma sees through the act, not because he's trying to catch people slipping, but because his brain is wired to scan for patterns and inconsistencies. Even in conversations, the Sigma notices the little things: a pause before an answer, a quick look to the side, a change in tone. These cues tell him more than the words ever could. And that awareness makes others feel like they're on stage, even when they're just talking. In a world full of distractions, someone who's actually paying attention is rare. But it's also uncomfortable. It makes people realize they're being seen, truly seen, in ways they're not used to. And that level of awareness, even when it's silent, creates a strong, lasting impression that often feels like pressure. Sign number 5, subtle energy adjustment, shifting the mood. Most people walk into a room and adjust to the mood. They try to fit in, blend in, or follow the dominant energy. Sigma males do the opposite. They shift the mood around them, not by force, but through subtle energy. The way they enter, the way they carry themselves, and how they engage changes the vibe without saying a word. This isn't about being loud or trying to take over. It's about presence. A Sigma male doesn't need to be the leader of the group to lead the energy. His calmness makes others quiet down. His intensity raises the bar. His silence makes people think more carefully. Without trying, he becomes the emotional anchor in the room. This energy control is hard to explain, but easy to feel. People might not know why they start acting differently when the Sigma walks in. They just do. The mood shifts. Conversations slow down. The tone gets more serious. That shift can be exciting to some and unsettling to others. What's intimidating is that the Sigma doesn't force this shift. It just happens. His internal state is so solid that it affects the external environment. If he's calm, others calm down. If he's alert, others become alert. This kind of influence isn't taught. It's a natural extension of self-control and self-awareness. Even when he's not speaking, people look to him for cues. If he's relaxed, they feel safe. If he tenses up, they take notice. He sets the pace, whether he intends to or not. And because he's not emotionally reactive, people are never quite sure how to adjust to him. This unpredictability adds to the intimidation. People like knowing how others will react. But with a Sigma male, that's not guaranteed. You can't read him easily. And because his mood isn't being pulled by the crowd, he ends up pulling the crowd toward him. In relationships, workplaces, or social settings, this ability to shift energy without effort is one of the most powerful signs of influence. It's quiet. It's steady. And it reminds people that they're not in control of the room. He is. Sign number 6, unpredictability. You never know his next move. People are uncomfortable with what they can't predict. Most social behavior follows patterns. Say the right thing, dress the right way, react how you're expected to. But the Sigma male doesn't follow the script. That unpredictability is one of his most powerful and intimidating traits. The Sigma male doesn't announce what he's going to do next. He might leave a party early without saying goodbye. He might quit a job everyone thought he loved. He might go silent in the middle of a heated conversation, not out of fear, but because he's done. This kind of behavior makes people nervous because they can't control it, and they can't figure out what's going on behind it. Unpredictability means freedom. The Sigma male isn't locked into habits or roles that others expect from him. He acts when it feels right, not when it's socially approved. That freedom is attractive, but it's also unsettling, especially for people who need consistency to feel safe. The truth is, most people rely on predictability to feel in control. When someone breaks the pattern, it forces them to reevaluate everything. The Sigma male's behavior doesn't always make sense on the surface, but it's always based on internal logic. He doesn't need permission or validation. That makes him a wild card in any situation. In conflict, this unpredictability becomes even more intense. People don't know if he'll walk away, confront the issue directly, or wait in silence. They don't know if he's planning something or if he's just not interested. That unknown creates tension. It makes people watch him more closely. And that attention only adds to his mystique. The Sigma male isn't playing games, he's just not explaining himself. He doesn't feel the need to clear up misunderstandings or defend his decisions. That silence becomes part of the intimidation. People are left guessing, and in that space of not knowing, they often assume the Sigma knows more, sees more, or has more power than he's showing. It's this unpredictability that makes others hesitate. They're careful with their words. They second-guess their actions. They try to figure out what the Sigma male is thinking, only to realize that they can't. That kind of mystery, when combined with strength and presence, becomes something few can ignore, and even fewer can match. A Sigma male doesn't try to be intimidating. He doesn't walk around looking for approval or trying to make others feel small. But because of how he carries himself, quiet, focused, emotionally grounded and deeply independent, people feel his presence in ways they don't expect. It's not about fear. It's about weight. The weight of someone who doesn't need to speak to be understood. The weight of someone who doesn't flinch when challenged. The weight of someone who moves on his own terms, no matter who's watching. These 6 signs, the calm in chaos, the composure under pressure, the intense focus, the sharp observation, the energy control, and the unpredictability, show a man who is far more powerful than he often realizes. Others see it before he does. They feel it in his silence, in his stare, in his stillness. And it shakes them. If you're a Sigma male, maybe you've seen these reactions without fully understanding them. Now you know. Your energy doesn't need permission to be powerful. And if others are intimidated, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because you're doing something they can't explain. And if you've ever been around someone like this, someone whose presence alone made you question everything, now you understand why. There's more going on under the surface than most people are ready to admit. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whether you see yourself in this or know someone who fits the description, this is a conversation worth having. Make sure to stick around for more insights like this. Because sometimes The quietest man in the room is the one who shapes it.